My friend secretly changed the bill to make me pay more, so I taught her a lesson she'll never forget. I always believed in splitting the bill fairly. If we went out to eat, I paid for what I ordered, and my friends paid for theirs. Simple, right? But one night, I noticed something strange. The check came, and my total seemed off. I glanced at my friend, who was acting way too casual. When I looked closer, she had added her extra drinks and appetizers to my total. On purpose. When I confronted her, she laughed. "Oh, come on, you make more money than me. What's a few extra dollars?" A few extra dollars? She had been doing this for months. She thought I'd just let it slide. She thought I'd keep paying without noticing. But if she thought she could trick me into covering her meals forever, she was in for a rude awakening. Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. I never minded splitting the bill when I went out with friends. If I ordered more, I paid more. If someone else did, they covered their share. Simple, fair. Or so I thought. Then one night, after dinner with my friend Jessica, the check arrived. I picked it up like usual, ready to Venmo her the exact amount. And that's when I noticed it. Something wasn't right. My total was higher than it should have been. Not by a couple of bucks, by a lot. I looked at the receipt carefully. My meal was there. My drink was there. But so were 2 extra cocktails and an appetizer I hadn't touched. I frowned. Jess? I think they messed up the check. There's stuff on here I didn't order." Jessica barely looked up from her phone. "Oh, don't worry about it." I blinked. "What?" She sighed, finally glancing at me. "I just moved some stuff around. You make more than me, so I figured you wouldn't mind covering a little extra." I stared at her, stunned. "You moved some stuff around?" I repeated. She shrugged. "Yeah, it's just a few extra dollars. No big deal." "A few extra dollars?" I looked at the check again. This wasn't a few extra dollars. She had been sneaking her extras onto my tab, and I had a sinking feeling this wasn't the first time. I clenched my jaw, feeling my face heat up. "Jessica, be honest. How long have you been doing this?" She smirked, as if this was some kind of joke. "Relax, it's not like I'm stealing from you. You make way more than I do. What's a few extra bucks between friends?" That's when it hit me. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. Jessica had been using me, and if she thought I was just going to let her get away with it, she was in for a rude awakening. I sat there, staring at Jessica, trying to process what I had just heard. What's a few extra bucks between friends? A few extra bucks? I glanced down at the receipt again. She had added over $40 to my total, and from the way she was acting, this wasn't the first time. I took a slow breath, keeping my voice even. "Jessica, how long have you been doing this?" She let out an annoyed sigh. "Oh my God, you're acting like I committed a crime." I didn't blink. "How long?" She rolled her eyes, taking a sip of her drink. "I don't know. A few months?" My stomach dropped. I had been paying for her extra food and drinks for months, without even knowing it. She must have seen the realization on my face because she laughed. "Relax, you can afford it. It's not like you need the money." That was it. That was the moment I decided. She was going to learn exactly how much this was going to cost her. I leaned back in my chair, forcing a small smile. "You're right. It's not about the money. It's about the principle." Jessica smirked, thinking I was backing down. She had no idea what was coming. "You know what?" I said casually. "Let's switch things up. I'll pay the whole check tonight. My treat." Her eyes lit up. "See? Now that's the friend I know." I smiled sweetly, pulling out my phone. "Yeah, and I'll make sure to get your share next time." And that was where the fun began. Because if she thought she could sneak her extra meals onto my bill forever, she was about to get a taste of her own medicine. Jessica thought she had won. She thought I had dropped it, that I had let it go. She even smiled as she watched me pay the check, completely oblivious to what was coming next. But what she didn't know, I had just set the perfect trap. The next time we went out to eat, I was ready. I picked the restaurant, a nice one. The kind she usually wouldn't suggest because it was too expensive. But this time, she didn't hesitate. "Oh my God, this place looks amazing," she gushed as we sat down. "I've been wanting to try this for ages." I smiled. "I know, that's why I picked it." The waiter came over and Jessica went all out. Cocktails, appetizers, the most expensive entree on the menu. She didn't hold back. And I ordered the cheapest thing I could find. Water instead of wine. No appetizer, just a simple meal. She barely noticed, too busy piling up the bill. Then, the check came. I picked it up, just like last time, and glanced at the total. Over $150. I smiled, setting the receipt down between us. So, I covered the last one. Time for you to get this one. Jessica's face dropped. Wait, what? I gestured at the bill. I paid last time, so now it's your turn. We're switching things up, remember? She let out a nervous laugh. You're kidding, right? I tilted my head. Oh, not at all. After all, what's a few extra bucks between friends? She stiffened. But I didn't think... I leaned in, lowering my voice. You didn't think I'd notice, did you? Her face turned red. She tried to backtrack. Come on, I don't have that kind of money. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Because you didn't seem to worry about money when you were ordering all of this. She sat there, speechless. For months, she had been sneaking her bills onto mine, laughing about it, brushing it off like it was nothing. And now, she was trapped. The waiter came by, waiting for payment. Jessica had no choice. She paid. And the whole time, I just sat back and enjoyed my meal. Because if she thought she could use me forever, she had just learned the most expensive lesson of her life. Jessica sat there, fuming. She slammed her card onto the table, her face flushed with embarrassment as the waiter picked up the bill. I can't believe you just did that, she hissed under her breath. I leaned back, sipping my water. Did what? Made sure we split things fairly? Isn't that what friends do? Her jaw tightened. This is different, she snapped. You know I don't have the money for this. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, but you were fine when I was covering extra meals for you. Funny how it's only a problem now. She had nothing to say, because she knew I was right. The waiter came back, handing her the receipt, and she snatched it without looking at me. I watched as she stuffed her card back into her wallet, her hands shaking. Then, she turned to me, her voice low and sharp. I thought we were friends. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Friends? I repeated. Friends don't scam each other, Jessica. Friends don't sneak their bills onto someone else and then laugh about it when they get caught. She huffed. It wasn't a scam. You make more money than me. I just thought... I cut her off. You thought you could get away with it, and you did, for months. She refused to look at me. I was just trying to even things out, she muttered. I shook my head. No, you were taking advantage of me. And now that the roles are reversed, you can't handle it, she scoffed, crossing her arms. So what? This was just some petty revenge thing? Are you happy now? I shrugged. I don't know. Did you feel happy every time I paid for things I didn't order? Jessica opened her mouth, then shut it, because she finally understood. For months she had felt entitled to my money, to my generosity. She had taken and taken, thinking I would never notice. But now, she had been forced to feel what it was like, and it stung. She barely spoke for the rest of the night. When we left the restaurant, she walked ahead without waiting for me. And I didn't care, because I wasn't going to let anyone take advantage of me again. The drive home was quiet, but inside, my mind was racing. Jessica had spent months sneaking extra food and drinks onto my bill, all while laughing it off like it was nothing. And when I finally turned the tables on her, she acted like I was the problem. I knew this wasn't over, because Jessica wasn't the type to just let things go. And sure enough, the very next day she texted me. Hey, last night was kind of weird. Can we just forget about it? I don't want this to ruin our friendship. I stared at my phone, laughing to myself. She didn't want to lose our friendship, or she didn't want to lose her free meals. I let the message sit for a while before replying. I don't think we should just forget about it, Jess. You've been adding to my bill for months. That wasn't a mistake. That was a pattern. Why would I pretend it never happened? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, she responded, I don't get why you're making this such a big deal. You have way more money than me. It's not like it actually hurt you. I felt rage rise in my chest. It's not about the money, I texted back. It's about the fact that you lied. You never even asked me if I was okay with it. You just assumed I wouldn't notice. Her response? You're being dramatic. That was it. I knew then and there Jessica wasn't sorry. She didn't feel bad. She wasn't embarrassed that she got caught. She was just mad that she couldn't get away with it anymore. And that meant our friendship was already done. I put my phone down and took a deep breath. Jessica thought this was just a bump in the road. She thought she could just brush it off and things would go back to normal. But if she thought I was going to keep this friendship going after what she did, she was in for a rude awakening. Jessica had made one thing very clear. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't embarrassed. She didn't feel bad about stealing from me for months. She just didn't like that she got caught. So, after sitting with her last text, "You're being dramatic." I made my decision, this friendship, it was over. But I wasn't going to just fade away quietly. Number Jessica needed to understand exactly why I was done with her. So I called her. She picked up almost immediately, her tone casual, like nothing had happened. "Finally, I was wondering when you were going to stop sulking," she said with a laugh. I didn't laugh. "Jessica, I need you to hear me clearly," I said, my voice firm. "I'm done. With you, with this friendship, with everything." Silence. Then, "Wait, what?" she asked, her voice suddenly sharper. "I don't stay friends with people who lie to me, who manipulate me, who use me. And that's exactly what you've been doing," I continued. She scoffed. "Oh my God, you're still on this?" "Yes, I am," I shot back. "Because this isn't just about a few meals, Jessica. It's about the fact that you never respected me enough to be honest. You saw me as your personal ATM, not your friend, and I'm done being taken advantage of." She stammered, her tone switching from defensive to desperate. Okay, fine. I messed up. But are you seriously going to end our friendship over this?" "Jessica, you ended it when you decided that lying to me was easier than treating me with respect," I said coldly. She let out a bitter laugh. "Wow, so you're just going to throw away years of friendship?" I smiled to myself. "Funny," I said. "I was just about to ask you the same thing." And then I hung up. Because I didn't need to hear another word. Jessica had made her choice. And now, she was finally dealing with the consequences. After I hung up, I sat there for a moment, letting it all sink in. I had just cut Jessica off for good. And you know what? I didn't feel sad, no regret, no second guessing, just relief. Because the truth was, Jessica had never been a real friend. A real friend wouldn't have lied to my face. A real friend wouldn't have used me for months and then acted like I was the problem when I finally called her out. She had taken advantage of my kindness and then tried to make me feel guilty when I stopped letting her. And now, she had no one else to blame but herself. But of course, she couldn't just let it go. The next day I got a text from one of our mutual friends. "Hey, I just talked to Jessica. What happened between you two?" I sighed. Of course she was playing the victim. "Let me guess," I replied. "She told you I randomly freaked out over a bill?" "Kind of," my friend admitted. "She said you're mad over money and that you just cut her off out of nowhere." I rolled my eyes. Of course, Jessica had left out the part where she had been stealing from me. "She was adding extra charges to my bill for months," I explained. "She thought I wouldn't notice. When I finally caught on, she laughed about it and acted like I was the bad guy for not wanting to pay for her anymore." My friend took a minute to reply. "Wait, she was doing that on purpose?" "Yep." Another pause. "Wow, she made it sound like you were just being petty." I laughed. "Not surprising. She's mad that she lost her free meals." After that, Jessica went quiet. No more texts, no more guilt trips, no more fake apologies. Because now, everyone knew the truth. And if she thought she could turn people against me, she had just learned the hard way that I wasn't the villain in this story. After the truth got out, Jessica disappeared. No more fake apologies, no more guilt trips, no more trying to twist the story to make herself look like the victim. Because now, she had no one left to manipulate. Mutual friends slowly started distancing themselves from her. Not because I asked them to, but because once they knew who she really was, they realized they couldn't trust her either. One even messaged me later. "Yeah, Jessica tried to make me cover her drink last time we went out. I didn't think much of it, but now I see the pattern." Pattern. That's exactly what it was. Jessica wasn't just a bad friend to me. She was a user. She had probably been pulling this stunt on multiple people for years. And I had just been the one dumb enough to let it go on for too long. Not anymore. And the best part? I didn't miss her. At first I thought I might, that I'd feel some kind of loss after cutting her out of my life. But instead, I felt free. No more stress over being expected to pay. No more wondering if I was being used. No more letting someone treat me like a walking credit card. Jessica had spent months stealing from me. And in the end, she lost way more than I ever did, because I only lost a few dollars. She lost a friend. And if she thought I'd ever let someone like her back into my life again, she was dead wrong. Some people aren't your friends. They're just taking advantage of your kindness. And when you finally call them out, they show you who they really are. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had to cut off a toxic friend? How did it go? Drop your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.